Everyone, I'm Jonathan Shaw, founder of Decoding Pain, and in this video I want to ask you a really important question. Are you really doing everything you need to do to solve your pain? Are you really ready to solve your pain? Now the reason I'm asking this question is because I had two people come to me in the past few weeks. One of them was kind of a sad case, and the other one was a really exciting case. And they were kind of complete opposites of each other. And I want to use these two examples to illustrate why people become stuck in pain and why people get free of pain when others are still staying stuck. So the first person who came to me, now both of these people, they had sciatic pain. And one was an acute pain that was only been there a couple of weeks, and the other one was a chronic condition that had been coming and going for ages. Now, the guy who came to me with acute pain, he was recommended to me, and he was a lovely bloke. He was in his 70s, a really, really nice guy, and he'd had pain for a couple of weeks. Now, usually, acute sciatic pain is very simple to treat, and you treat it 1 or 2 sessions, and it goes away. And even most chronic sciatic pain that I treat, I'm able to get rid of in a very short space of time, in a very few weeks. But this guy who came to me, the 2 times I saw him and treated him physically, it wasn't working. He was still in immense pain. And the problem was that although I'd released the nerve wasn't actually trapped anymore, but he was still in immense pain. So these two things didn't match up. So the nerve wasn't actually causing the pain. So when I said to him, you know, we need to look at the stress to find out what's causing it, him and I explained what the biological stress was for sciatic pain. He immediately knew what was going on and what was wrong. And he told me. And as he started to tell the story, his pain went down. It reduced. And he realised there was a connection. He realised that that's not a coincidence. He realised that him telling the story of the stress and his pain going down was not a coincidence. So I said, all we need to do is resolve the stress for you, to switch it off, and the pain will go away. So he said, okay. And he came back to me a few days later, and we sat him down to resolve the stress. And bless him, he did go through the whole session with me, which was about an hour. And during that time, we released some of the stress for him. That dropped by about 50%. And his pain disappeared in that session after releasing 50% of the thing we were working on. But at the end of the session, when I asked him if he felt very comfortable, he said no, he didn't feel comfortable at all dealing with his thoughts and emotions. He just wasn't comfortable with it. And he although he knew the pain had gone down, he just wasn't comfortable dealing with his thoughts and emotions. Now, the sad thing about that is that he went off suffering in pain, and he won't come back to me. And the problem is that he's now suffering. What he was really saying was that he was more prepared to be uncomfortable and suffer in severe pain almost 24/7 than be slightly uncomfortable for an hour once a week to resolve the pain. Now, this is complete insanity. It's completely illogical. He would rather be in pain every day, almost all day long, for weeks on end, than be uncomfortable for an hour dealing with some thoughts and emotions and then eventually being free of the pain. This, to me, is very illogical. Now, I do know that dealing with emotions and dealing with thoughts, it's not the most pleasant thing in the world, but he saw the result. The pain went down. That was the answer to his problem. He knew that was the answer. He could see it, but he still wasn't willing to do it. And that, to me, was very, very sad. I was really upset, and I was really sad that he just went away suffering in pain. Now, the next person who came to me, I'd actually been seeing her for a few weeks, and she just wanted to resolve it because she'd had it for a year previously, and it finally disappeared, and then a few months later it came back again. So she was very frustrated, so she got referred to me. And I showed her what was wrong, and we reduced it physically, but I said the only way to really solve it is to change the biological stress, and I told her what it was. And what happened was her boyfriend already knew the DTO system, or a bit of the DTO system that I do to clear stress. I'm doing it on him, I'm resolving his stuff, and in that process he's learned how to do it. And so he had been teaching her a little bit how to do it. So when I told her what the conflict was, the biological shock was, she actually went away, used DTO herself, even though she hadn't been perfectly taught how to do it, and cleared what I'd suggested she cleared. And the rest of her sciatic pain disappeared. She did it herself. She didn't come to me for more sessions. She just went away, tried it, and it worked. Now, this is the difference. This is the difference between someone who solves their problem, whether it's chronic pain or depression or anxiety or chronic illness or autoimmune problems. This is the difference between someone who solves their problem and someone who doesn't, someone who stays stuck. The person who solves their problem is willing to do whatever it takes. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't feel right, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get better. And the person who doesn't solve the problem, the person who suffers the longest, is the ones who aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to put up with a little bit of discomfort. They'd rather put up with constant discomfort physically than a little bit of emotional discomfort. And that's really quite sad, unfortunately. And I know what it's like, it's tough. But you've got to weigh up the consequences. One is, if you don't deal with things, you're going to end up suffering for a long period of time. And this lady was amazing. She just went off and did it herself. It was absolutely incredible. And I was so thrilled for her. So please, please, you don't have to suffer, but you do have to conjure up the strength and the determination and the willpower to go through the bit you need to go through the bit of being a little bit uncomfortable so you can be free and go back to being healthy and well again. And I know it's difficult. I've been there myself, and some things in our system, some emotions are tough to deal with. But if you deal with them and you deal with them with the right technique and the right process, once they're gone, and you won't have to deal with them ever again. And your pain, your illness, your disease, your problem will go away. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions about that, then please feel free to email me, jonathan@decodingpain.com. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, keep smiling, and I'll see you on the next video.